this is a good time to just reset. Where are we at? And let's not look too deep into whatever. Let's just see who's the best player in the NFL. And I think this year, it's actually more up for grabs than it has been in a really long time. So let's run down the top 10 players heading into this season in the National Football League. All right, it is time to see who are the top 10 players in the NFL this year. I like to do this at the start of every season. Just kind of run through and see, hey, who's tops, who's the best right now, and see maybe how these lists change from year to year. Might do these a little bit more as the season rolls along as well. But we begin at number 10, and it is someone who I believe is new to this list, and it is Patrick Surtain II. I think when you are looking at some of the best defensive backs in the National Football League, his name has to be up there. And obviously, spoiler alert, I would put him as number one for defensive backs. I think that it is a very good defense with the Denver Broncos, and I think that this is someone who just lets you, not that there's a ton of number one receivers in the division all of a sudden in the AFC West, but he just lets you okay, he can deal with the number one guy. We'll let everyone else deal with everything else, but he can just, if we're playing Jamar Chase, we're just going to put him on Chase, and we'll try to deal with Higgins with a few different pieces. And having that, I still think, is very, very valuable in the National Football League. So Patrick Surtain making his way onto this list at number 10. At number 9, it is TJ Watt, coming off of the contract negotiations that actually went well for him. We'll talk about someone who they're not going great in a second, and then someone who they went really well for in a little bit as well. But TJ Watt, pass rusher extraordinaire, and you saw a couple of years ago how everything just went to hell with the Steelers' pass rush and just defense in general when he went down with an injury. But you see last year what they can do when they are a bit more or when he is healthy, sorry. And this is a very intriguing football player and just a really, really dominant one, I would say. And his brother did the 999 challenge in 5.5 innings. So you have to give the genes something to work with there as well. Shout out to Elite Sports Talk Podcast in the Kick Chat today. Greatly appreciate you popping by. Number 8 on the list is Micah Parsons. Contract negotiations are what they are with the Dallas Cowboys right now, but when you look at just the totality of what he can do as linebacker, passer, whatever you want to call him, he is elite at what he does. He is so quick, so powerful at getting to the quarterback, a non-stop motor, and someone that I think you can really build a defense around, and someone that you can be reliant on as a game changer as seasons go on, as games go on. And I think that it is almost a real disappointment that this is happening right now with him and the Dallas Cowboys, because I think he is like a franchise cornerstone type of defensive player. And so I don't know what the Cowboys are doing. Now, Jared likes to steal the headlines as the offseason and the preseason go on. This happened with Dak, where it was just, no, I hate you. No, I hate you. Hey, look at that contract done right at the start of the NFL season. So we will see what happens with Micah Parsons there. Coming in at number 7 on the list is Justin Jefferson. And now looking at it, the only receiver on the list this year. But I think he, to me, is kind of undisputed as the number 1 wide receiver in the National Football League. You saw what he could do last year with some pretty good quarterback play with Sam Darnold. I'm very interested to see what it looks like this season with J.J. McCarthy. But for Justin Jefferson, can make all the catches, runs all the routes, is just someone that if your quarterback is in trouble, he can throw it up to that guy, and you are trusting that he is going to make that play. He is a game breaker, a game changer, a difference maker, everything that you want to put on that would be like a Madden 07 X Factor on a guy. That guy can roll with it. I think he is very good. So yes, no, I think Justin Jefferson comes in, as the number 1 wide receiver and at number 7 on the list. Also, I mentioned Elite Sports Talk Podcast was in here before. Didn't say, just the PS2 with the 2 exclamation marks. And I will admit, initially I thought, I'm not playing, did I leave something in my bio that I play PS2? But no, Patrick Surtain II. So I'm getting there. We're getting caught up. Clearly need more of the Swift energy to get the focus back up and running. So swig of Swift for the working man. All right, coming in at number 6. This is where might start to get a bit debatey around these. I have Joe Burrow as the 6th best player in the NFL. And I know that The Athletic, they just did the quarterback tiers piece with Mike Sando. Must read every year if you have a subscription to The Athletic, or I suppose the New York Times now. But Joe Burrow was he was in tier 1 with Patrick Mahomes as like the number 1 guy in the National Football League at quarterbacks. And while he is excellent, like, don't hear what I am not saying, but this is an elite level quarterback. We just got 4 of them in this league. And I still think he happens to be 4th. What he has done he has very good weapons around him, so that helps. But what he has done with no offensive line help at all is amazing. And when you are looking at someone who you would trust with the fate of the world, with the laser beams, there we go. Wow, pointed toward the earth, and the Max Kellerman, I'm going Iguodala. Joe Burrow, he wouldn't be my first pick, but he would be on the team because he has that dog in him, and I think he is very good. I just don't think he's on the level of the other quarterbacks that I have on this list. But again, I think he is an excellent player. I would gladly have him lead my football team any day of the week. We'll get into the top 5 in just a second, but if you want to help the show out, spread the word of Couch Potato Diary. Hit that share button wherever you are consuming this bit of media, whether it's in podcast form later, whether it is in video form later, or if you're watching live right now, share this with your friends and like a couple people you don't like, just to confuse them a little bit, or break the ice and maybe start a lifelong friendship after this. Either way, help spread the word of Couch Potato Diary. I would really appreciate it. All right, we are into the top 5 players in the National Football League, and number 5 is Lamar Jackson. MVP. He is an incredibly talented human being when it comes to the sport of football. The reason I have him behind the other quarterbacks that I would have ahead of him is, while I hate this kind of sports analysis, he just hasn't won that big game yet. When he has had big opportunities to advance deep into the playoffs, it just hasn't happened for him. There have been times I feel like he has been let down by, say, a fumble in the end zone, or by some play calling that I didn't agree with against the Kansas City Chiefs. Like the times that he has had the opportunity to go into that elite category, it just hasn't happened. He is obviously an elite talent, and I think the passing has actually progressed a lot further than a lot of people would give him credit for. And the speed is obviously incredible, and the running ability is obviously incredible. So he is just a fantastic quarterback, and one that I think, I'm happy that it seems like a lot of the league has just come around, instead of the, oh, can't win with him, oh, can't blah, 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 blah. It is all just an understanding, like, nah, this guy's pretty good. We're probably all right with this dude, hey? So he comes in at number 5. At number 4, just ahead of him, and this is basically, like, this guy is number 4, and Lamar is basically 4.5. They are that close. But it is Josh Allen. Again, MVP winner. Did it last year without a ton of help at the receiver position. I wonder what this guy would be like under a different offensive scheme. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. I think that he is in an offensive scheme and an offensive game plan that is kind of dedicated around ball control, slowly, methodically move it up the field, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, he has a cannon for an arm, and they've taken advantage of that. But I don't think he is in an offensive situation that maximizes everything he can do as a passer at the quarterback spot. And so to be able to put up MVP type numbers whilst in an offense that doesn't really let you is quite interesting to me and quite impressive to me. And one thing that was very frustrating was, you look last year in the playoffs against the Denver Broncos, where Buffalo's obviously a good team, but they slowed it down, so there's only like 3 or 4 possessions in the first half, it felt like. And like, that's not how you're supposed to do it when you're the better team. That is bringing a whole lot of variance into things that you don't want to. I wish they would really let this guy just let loose one year, and we could have an all-time great season. So Josh Allen has worked his way into the elite level quarterback conversation and is just comfortably in there at this point. At number 3, it is Myles Garrett. The boy got paid like a elite pass rusher, and that is because he is. I know that the Cleveland defense is not what it was a couple of seasons ago, but it ain't because of that guy. He is a game wrecker on the defensive line and just a dominant force as a pass rusher. You can put double teams at him, it doesn't matter. He is a physical freak. He is incredibly gifted. I was very excited when he demanded a trade to get out of Cleveland, because I think you look at him in any other spot in the NFL and they would have already built statues for him. And the fact that he is being underutilized in Cleveland is bordering on criminal, although not as criminal as some of the other things that have happened in Cleveland with actual crimes. But this is genuinely one of the best defensive players in the history of this sport. And I hope that the team that he plays on doesn't hinder us from recognizing that. We got 2 more to go on the list, but first we say hello to Anand in the Twitch chat. Good afternoon, Anand. Seeing that you were hanging out at Global Fest the other day, or yesterday, I guess. So happy to see that you are out and about on the Calgary media scene, as always. So happy to have you in the Twitch chat today. All right, coming in at number 2, it is Saquon Barkley. I know running backs, all that. It's not super fancy to talk running backs in the year of our football gods, 2025, but this guy is special. He is incredibly talented. He pass catching, running out of the backfield, anything you need him to do, he can do it. The athleticism on full display with something immortalized on Madden covers now with the reverse hurdle thing against Jacksonville. And you see the difference that he made going to the Philadelphia Eagles, who are an elite footballing team, and he goes there and still makes them better. That is how good this guy is. And looking at it now, I'm sure I would have to go through it. I don't think there is anyone who is further ahead of second best in their position in the NFL right now than Saquon is ahead of second best at running back. Bijan is there, but like Mahomes to Josh Allen, it's not that big of a gap. Myles Garrett to Micah Parsons or TJ Watt, depending on where you want to put Parsons, it's not that big of a gap. Surtain to the next best corner, I think fellow out in Kansas City might have something to say about this. So it doesn't feel like it's that big of a gap. Maybe Jefferson with the next best wide receiver, but Saquon is just that dude. And so I feel like I have to have him as the second best player. Maybe there is some recency bias because the last time we watched him play, he was the best player on a Super Bowl team. But he was the best player on the Super Bowl team. So I think you got to give him a little bit of credit there. And at number 1, debated it a bit on the radio. We certainly could debate it here. It's Patrick Mahomes. And I understand if you want to look at someone else as the best player in the NFL. To me, he plays the most important position, and I think he is still the most talented person I have ever seen do that. Will he get the numbers in the career of Tom Brady? Probably not. But when you are looking at just pure talent, what he can do as a scrambler, as a thrower, his mind for the game, and everything that it goes along with it, I don't think there has ever been someone who can play at the level of Patrick Mahomes. And I think, like, Bill Simmons talked about it on his podcast, where, like, now he disagreed with this take, but if you have the belt, someone has to come take it away from you. And I just don't think Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, or Joe Burrow have come and taken it away from him. So maybe we should put Jalen Hurts higher on this list, or on this list, I guess. But to me right now, it is still Patrick Mahomes as the best player in the National Football League. And again, the laser's pointing to earth. Who are we trusting with our lives on the line? It's Mahomes. And it 100% is him. Also, I think there's a chance this team has a very... look, breaking news. Kansas City is going to be good this year. But I think that this team could have a bit of a different look offensively, depending on what happens with Rashee Rice. I think when he is there, everyone else slots in right where they are supposed to on that Kansas City offense. So I think that this is a really compelling argument, but still one that ends with Patrick Mahomes as the best player in the NFL. If you missed any of the live stream, or you just want to bring a Couch Potato Diary with you wherever you go, you can catch the podcast on Spotify, on Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.